What is up, Internet world, and welcome back to Accelerate. I'm Mike Van Hout, he's Ian McAlpine, and today we're in the Mercedes-AMG S63. Over 50 years ago, back in 1971, the brand from Affalterbach, that's not how you say it, this is how you say it,
Affalterbach,
created the Mercedes-Benz 300 SEL AMG. That was their first foray into a performance large sedan. Back then it was called the SEL, and then 1 year later, in 1972, they changed the name to the S-Class. So today I stand with the most powerful S-Class ever made. This weapon makes 791 horsepower and 1,055 torque. Here we go. And go. 3.2 seconds. 3.13. So let's talk a little bit more about the engine. This is a plug-in hybrid, and this plug-in hybrid gives you 20 miles or about 33 kilometers worth of range. Now, depending on where you read and how you drive it, I've only seemed to got about 26, 27 kilometers. So call it like 16, 17 miles worth of range at a full battery. Now, I haven't even plugged it in to get the full battery. It does a really good job of just regenerating power back into this battery. And that's mainly because you always want to have that performance. So they're not really trying to drain the battery. Its power is always getting put back in through the engine and the rotation of the wheels and all that fun stuff. Now, the interesting part about it here in Ontario, because it is a plug-in hybrid, even though it makes 791 horsepower, you still have a green plate, which means me as a solo driver can drive in the HOV lanes when you're going into Toronto, which is pretty awesome that I'm driving this big monster super sedan and I'm pretending that I'm energy efficient or environmentally sustainable or whatever you want to call it. Wild. But the design of this battery is to prioritize performance, which means constantly having power from the battery. Now, it's a 400 volt architecture, there's 1,200 individual cells, and it has a weight of only 200 pounds. But there is a downside. It's located right here, and look how much trunk room you have. It's very, very tight because it's all back here. Now, this is an S-Class, so occupants are usually golfing, or they're taking people from place to place. But how many suitcases can you fit inside this little measly trunk on this S63 e-Performance? Now, just like the GT63 we just had, this has the AMG Speed Shift MCT 9-speed transmission. This is a really, really low front end. This super sedan has a button inside that you can raise it. Otherwise, this would all be scraped. We're safe. Now, the 3-pointed star has been replaced by this Affalterbach logo. Now, down from there, you have this massive Pan America grille with, of course, the traditional AMG louvres and the badge right there. A nice big 3-pointed star that, of course, is heated because in the winter, you don't want your badge to not be seen. You do have a front camera, and of course you have this embarrassing green plate. If it was me, I would opt for the black one. Now, what puts it all together is this jet wing design lower front apron. They're all like individual parts that seamlessly come together with this like chrome platinum dark trim. I don't know what it's called, but it looks pretty cool. And just the way it's designed makes this S63 pretty awesome. But let's not forget about these taillights. Of course, they do a fancy light show.
Those are headlights, Mike.
Yes, they are taillights.
No, they're headlights.
Headlights. So let's talk about the AMG S63 performance bits. First things first, this makes 158 brake horsepower per liter. You have AMG composite brakes on the front. They are 15.7-inch rotors and 15-inch on the back. They are powered by a 6-piston caliper, and of course, these are wrapped in Michelin Sport 4S's. Now in the back you have active rear axle steering. And what that means is when you go under 60 kilometers an hour, these guys rotate at 4.5 degrees in the opposite direction, which means it can turn very, very easily. Little tiny circles actually. And when you're going over 60 kilometers an hour, it turns the same direction, but by 3 degrees. That way, when you're cornering, it's hugging the road even better. Now this color is called Manufacture Alpine Gray, and I do like it. It's like shiny primer. It's kind of a thing, especially with these big body cars, because these cars generally are for like the older folk, but when you throw some young spice in it, it livens up the party. Now you do have this V8 bi-turbo e-performance badge on the side. Of course, you have black mirror caps with black trim everywhere. But I do like this. Look at this line right here from end to end. It's super clean and it just sort of gives this long stance. Now, of course, this does have a very long frame because it's an S-Class, but to make it look more sporty, you have to add those little details. Now, in terms of luxury, when I walk up to the vehicle and I have the key in my pocket, this doors simply open like this, voila, and they're of course backlit. Now because this is a plug-in hybrid, of course you get 2 fuel cap doors. This one is for the electric side. I push down, it opens up. This is not the case for the gas one. The gas one actually has a little pulley thing inside the driver's door. This guy just simply is a pushy. I wanted to show you this cap. Look how cool this cap looks. It's an AMG cap. Now on the back of this S-Class, it continues to be an S-Class. It's very soft and luxurious and rounded on this tail lid or dicky, depending on where you live. I bought an S55 in my second home in Colombia, and the AMG badge is in the exact same spot right there. Now the S63 badge, I'm not the biggest fan of. I think it's kind of ugly. What is with this red? Ugh. Everything else is pretty much straightforward, except these guys. These are just tail ends or something. Tips, that's right. These are not fully functional. They just look the part. The exhausts actually start or end right here. Then you have these 1, 2, 3 diffusers, and that's that. Ooh, I'm so excited. The inside of the Mercedes-Benz S63. Wow, Club AMG ambient lighting. Look at all these colors. This is amazing. Whew, man, they do a really good job. AMG, Mercedes-Benz, all together has the best ambient light. Listen here, Club AMG. Turn down the ambient lighting. It is a lot for a human. This does have augmented... I'm
sorry, but I can't help you with that right now.
Thank you. This does have heads-up display that has augmented reality built into it. It is so crazy that you cannot miss a turn, and I'll tell you why. It appears to be 30 feet down the road and as big as 77 inches. That is super cool. It also has the speed you're driving, and if you take it on the track and you set this AMG track pace progress, it'll tell you how you're progressing on the track 30 feet in front of you at a height of 77 inches. That is massive. It's like a video game. And I don't know about you, but when I'm on the track, I blast music. It's just so exhilarating. A lot of people just listen to silence, but for me, I want to hear music loud. And thanks to this Burmester sound system, it has 15 speakers with a total wattage of 710, which means your eardrum is going to explode. But your wallet will first, because it costs 8,320 Canadian dollars. Now I know I'm complaining about the price of this speakers, but look at this. How cool is that? It goes in and out. That's amazing. Look at that. Remix. Now you know you're in an AMG because your mats, your seats, your steering wheel are all AMG. But it's a different AMG. This is an S63 and this is an edition 1, and it tells you right here, so any passenger, including yourself, the driver, will see this. Now when you sit in these seats, you have 10 different modes that can massage you in every single way and provide the perfect amount of heat to make you feel like you're having a hot stone massage at a spa. Yep, that information is straight from Mercedes-Benz. But when you turn your head and look at this, you have the Avara badge right there, crested in the headrests. Now you can adjust these seats in every single way, to be honest. I just personally couldn't find the perfect seating position in these seats. They're like luxury, but they're trying to be sporty. And it's maybe because headrest does this. Like, that is there. I feel like it should be flatter a little bit because when it comes forward, I only have this much sort of contact to my head, if you can see. It's like this much, and it's kind of annoying. So I haven't figured it out yet. Maybe you should jump in one and see if you can make it work for you. Now, if you're new to our channel, we've already reviewed the new S580 as well as the S580 Maybach. So go ahead and take a look at those videos if you are an S-Class connoisseur. Now, unlike the regular S-Class, this S63 has a few extra icons on this infotainment, starting off with charge. When I hit the charge button, you see this. How much battery level do you have? What charging program would you like to use? When would you want to use it? That kind of stuff. I go back and I have two extra icons, the performance and the track pace. So let's hit the performance here, and you see you have energy flow that looks like this, where the power is going into the battery pack. The drive, which is honestly my favorite, it tells you the temperature of the engine, how much power you're using, that kind of stuff. Then you have the vehicle, which is basically rebound rates, the engine, which is personally my second favorite because look how aggressive this looks, your pound-feet of torque, your horsepower, both with the engine as well as the battery. Then you have your stopwatch / clock with IWC, then your consumption, which is pretty straightforward. But my favorite, of course, is drive. That is so cool to have. Then finally, you have track pace. When you hit track pace, you have track race, drag race, and telemetry. Now, there are no tracks around me, so this is not going to work. But if you did, the heads-up display is awesome when it's all working. You have drag race, it looks like this, and then telemetry, which is telemetry. Speed, accelerator pedal, and brake pedal. Telemetry. Welcome to the Maybach Lite. Whew, this feels exactly the same as the Maybach. Maybach had a few little differences, one being the champagne flutes right there in the fridge, and just felt a little bit more exquisite. Now, both of them have the seat that go forward. This has the first class package, so I can put my legs up on that footrest. The only difference though is I don't have anything that pulls up here to give me some lower calf support, or upper calf support, I guess, depending on how you're looking at it. But it's very, very luxurious. I can simply press this button and then this does its thing. It moves forward. I recline with my fancy pillow here and I just relax in comfort while I press this little eject button on my Samsung piece that is integrated into the vehicle, where I can adjust my massage seat. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Wow, I feel like a king. And also, look at this. I can adjust how much fragrance I want in the vehicle, so I can smell delicious when my lady comes and sits next to me. Let's go, driver. Other stuff I can control would be the rear sunshade, of course the panoramic sunroof, along with this window shade on the side. If I want to charge my cell phone, well, I do have a wireless charger right here, 2 USB-Cs. And if that's not enough USBs, well, I've got 2 more here and 2 HDMI inputs for the kiddies. I do have illuminated seat buckles here so you can see exactly where you're putting your seatbelt on. And then these 2 big screens in front of me can of course tell me where I'm going, but they can also adjust a few things like looking at your charge, navigation, phone, radio, media, apps, pretty much the same thing as the driver and the passenger. Whoa, look how cool this is. I can adjust the ambient light from this little, whoa, look at this color. This is amazing. Whoa, and look what it does. I'm gonna show all my friends when we put this YouTube video out. Whoa. You know what's so cool about this little tablet? I can adjust everything. My massage, oh my God. I have classic massage, hot relaxing back, hot relaxing shoulders. Oh my God. And the ambient lighting, amazing. This is like a toy. So cool. You could easily be busy for like a good hour with this thing. And it shows up right there in case this is not big enough for you. Which one has better resolution? This guy. So I will throw this in comfort now and just putter away like I'm in an S-Class. And honestly, when comfort, I don't even know this thing has 791 horsepower. It honestly feels like it's 400 or 500, depending on what gear I'm in and how I press the throttle. Now, it does have the 9-speed dual clutch transmission with a 2-speed gearbox in the back for the electrification part of it. So it does haul. I noticed this in the Taycan, actually, with the 2-speed in the back. It just gave it that extra push, and I feel the same as this Benz. I mean, this thing does haul booty. If you're gonna drive this thing around, you're probably gonna put it in Sport Plus most of the time, or if you just are bumper to bumper traffic, you're gonna leave it in comfort, and then it's gonna switch automatically between battery and engine. Now, for those that have been watching the channel for a little bit, you guys know that I have a Model S Plaid. And for those that don't know, please go ahead and watch that video. I talk about the depreciation, how much money I've lost over the last 3 years on the vehicle. Now, that vehicle weighs 4,828 pounds. This beast weighs 5,721 pounds. Man, that is 900 pounds more, approximately. I wasn't very good at math, but that is a lot of weight in this vehicle. So there is 1,055 pound-feet of torque, but honestly, it doesn't feel like it has that kind of power, especially initially. Now in Sport Plus, yes, you can feel it. It's a ton of weight getting pushed back into your chest. The G-forces are crazy. But man, almost 6,000 pounds. That is crazy, especially knowing that this has a 10 kilowatt hour battery. It doesn't have a 100 kilowatt hour battery. This is not the same as the Tesla with this monster engine up front. It weighs 6,000 pounds. It is wild, it is wild. But I will say, this is the truth, I will say it's been very good on fuel in terms of range because it used the battery quite a bit. And also, I'm at like a quarter tank, and this is after driving it 2.5 hours to get here and driving around town and doing all the launches and all that fun stuff. I still have a quarter tank. Normally, all the vehicles we get here, we're filling gas at this point. So it's been very good on fuel. Now, I don't know how big this tank is, to be honest. I'm assuming it's about 75 or 80 liters, and then that would make sense, about $120 or so to fill up here in Canada. Now, this is a very bumpy road, but this thing still does hold its own. It just feels so planted and solid. And when I was on the highway driving it, it's just so easy to break every single speed limit and not know how fast you're going. And then when you hit the brakes, when you have to slow down because you realize you're blowing past every speed limit, it's solid, it's just composed, it holds well, and that's definitely nothing I get on the Tesla. Now, granted, the Tesla's half the price, but still, this is just very solid, and it pulls like a train past about 60 miles or 100 kilometers. Just a beast. Now, what does this really compare against? To be honest, at this price point, I would say the Maybach. If you're a Maybach owner or want to buy a Maybach and you want to be driven around, well, you're not buying this. But if you like the style of the Maybach, you like the luxury, and you want to be driving yourself, then maybe not the Maybach for you. Maybe the S63 Performance, because this thing does rip. This is a performance version of their S-Class, like I mentioned 100 times. And yeah, that's that. This one is an Edition 1. That means it's the first one. Edition 1. Anyways, thanks for watching our review on this brand new Mercedes-Benz S63 e-Performance. If you haven't subscribed to us, please go ahead and do so. And for everybody else, thanks for your support, and we'll catch you on the next one.